Mr. Harmon's here to talk to us about fundamentals of math. And we
You
really
didn't have a prop anywhere in the background, so I went up to the studio and
That's
snuck
right.
that down.
Oh,
you stole
good.
my thunder. I was going to say he goes back a few years.
Well, you know, one of my all-time favorite experiences from
Let
ninth
me
grade.
guess. 3 words. Fall from ceiling.
Yes, that was great.
I know that will outlive me by many, many years.
Yeah, well, we really just, I can't imagine being more excited about a science course than we were. So you never knew what was going to happen when Mr. Harmon came on the screen. It could be anything. And
Do you have
it was
another
exciting.
hour? We could talk about those failed experiments. Oh, well. It was live. There was no, we have what, a 7-8 second delay right now?
No, we're live right now. There's no delay.
But yeah.
Yeah, you see that screen right there? There's a delay on that screen, but that was the live one.
Well, that's the way it was, when you. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate it. Now, the same kind of excitement that kids had like me, my generation, had about science. Do you bring that to these math courses that you teach, this fundamentals of math
I'm
course?
entirely dull and boring all the No, I want them to really enjoy the class. But I wanted to talk to you about fundamentals from the aspect that we've made some changes. Now, the book is basically the same. Errata have been changed, but if you look at the 2010 to 2016, it's a copyright revision, but we have made a lot of changes in the course. So let me tell you about what's new. First of all, if you look at most of the math books have an A and a B and a C section. The A is your basic problem. The B, a little more detailed, and the C's are I struggle on these. So when I went through fundamentals the first time, I focused on the A and the B, but I threw in a C here and there, and we did that. We're staying with the A and the B. Now, the reason for that is we've gotten 3 years of feedback from the first course being out there from DLO, and we looked at it, and a common thread more often than not was, it's a little too hard. So the idea was, we're not dumbing it down, but let's stick to the basics. So we're going to do the A and the B homework. Also, there are some problem solving, like 1 per chapter. I didn't do that. Okay, we're just sticking with, here's the material, here it is, get a hold of it. The homework. I went through the assignments and dropped them down from about 30 to 20 questions for each of the assignments. The skill checks. The lesson, way basic lesson goes is there's some part of the lesson, might be a half a page, it might be 1 or 2 topics or some little section, and then there's a skill check, which is anywhere from 1 to a half dozen problems that your student is supposed to do right away. Now, in the back of the book, they have the answers to all the skill checks. Mm-hmm. So the first time we did that, we just had go, pause, do your skill check, come back, and I just picked up. Well, we thought about it. One of the things they wanted was as many examples worked out as possible. That's one of the comments we heard. So, hey, let's go through the skill checks. So we have a skill check slide up for 5 seconds. You pause it. Your son or daughter works through the problems. And then I will, if necessary, work through them. Sometimes it's just a talk through it, whatever, to explain those skill checks. Less quizzes. There were about 5 to 6 quizzes a chapter, sometimes 4. Basically, I dropped 1 quiz from each chapter. We made it, there was usually a quiz on 1 section somewhere in there, cover 2 sections. Sometimes there were 2 that could go to 3. But along with that, I also dropped down a number of questions. Sometimes on the quiz, there would be 5 questions on this one type of problem. I think 1 or 2 is enough to figure out, does your child understand the material? So some of the quizzes had 14 questions. They're generally 8 or 9 on those quizzes. The same thing with the tests as far as reducing the problems, down about a third. Also, I went through all of the quizzes, very carefully looked, is there anything that's in the C section? No, well, here we'll take a fraction divided by a fraction. What do? You invert the second fraction and multiply. Okay, that's in the book. We go through that, come up to a quiz that's got a fraction divided by a fraction in parentheses divided by a fraction, and they haven't seen it before. So that doesn't fit in along with my pedagogical approach. So I eliminated those and basically tried to make it straight down the road. Okay. Also, the lessons are shorter. The last time we did it, we were under a 30-minute window. Now we finish when we finish. So at average of 20, but anywhere from 15 to 29, 59 on each particular lesson as it needed to be. And I even plotted it by chapters. Some of them, the chapters came out at 15. Some of them came out at 25. So it was, how long do I need to go to explain what your child needs to know? And so those are the basic changes in the lessons. I think I kind of gave you also the flavor of your basic lesson series. I think you were...
Yeah, absolutely.
We had 4 series the first time through. We reduced that down to 2. We kept the game show.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Very
we had
good.
to add the game show.
Absolutely.
Vertical
What's a math course without a math game show?
Absolutely, you got to have that, and then math at work. So we have those 2 series. That's really basically it. How does a class work? I think you need to understand that I try to make things as simple as they can be. Yeah, we want to keep it to the basics. Now, by that I don't mean we're never going to get in depth, because there are sometimes let me teach for just a minute. We're looking between 1 and 2. How many numbers are between 1 and 2? Well, if you're talking about whole numbers, there's nothing in between. But when you go into fractions, you say, hey, did you realize between 1 and 2 on the number line, there's an infinite number of numbers there.
Right.
So we look at that little section, between 1 inch and 2 inch on the ruler, and there's 16 numbers there. No, there's an infinitude of numbers there. And that's called actually theory of density in math. But what does that say? It means I can hold up this ruler, here's something finite, and it represents infinity. So that, in a way, points to our God and his infinite wisdom and infinite everything. So that just gives you an idea that, yeah, I'm going to stick with the basics, but it's not like we're not going to get into anything fun or whatever.
Right, absolutely.
And exciting and interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I feel like I was hearing from you as you talked is that you're really interested in getting feedback from people that are taking your classes right now so that you can make adjustments to make it better.
Sure. I mean, I've been teaching for 35 years, but that doesn't mean anything is secure and settled. It all needs to be looked at. Is there a better way to do it? Can we do this in a more efficient way to get the idea across, to get the students to understand material? Sure. We're never going to stop looking at improving.
Right. Now, what if you have a mom and she's got a 6th grade
or
child?
a dad? I noticed one of the comments
yeah.
there.
So we do have dads here as well. You know what?
I hear, Mom, why can't you call it parent teacher?
That's right. You know what? I'm homeschool dad. I love you, homeschool dads. We appreciate all homeschool dads. Most homeschool dads right now are probably at work. But if they're on a break, they're probably tuning into this Facebook Live right now.
Hi, homeschool dads.
So, but really, one of the what if the homeschool mom is thinking, my child is really advanced at math, and I hear you're not doing the C problems. Is there anything that parent,
sure,
mom or dad, can do with their child in addition to this course?
Well, like we've aimed at trying to focus in on that middle group to make sure we handle them. What do you do with a struggling student? Well, first of all, you asked what do you do with the advanced student. This actually, some of the representatives, the precept moms, and I think all of them are moms except for Roger, if he's out there. Roger and Shannon.
There are a couple of homeschool dads too.
Yeah, but mostly the representatives are moms, so I can say that. But anyways, One of the things that they've told me as I was at conventions is, don't rush through it. So if you're struggling, it's all right if you need to take extra months, go through the summer. I would rather see a struggling student go through 2 years with fundamentals and get it down than move on, because what you're doing is you're building a wall of math knowledge, and you leave this brick out and that brick out, and what happens when that wall gets taller? Crash. This doesn't always go over well with homeschoolers. And I still haven't forgotten your question. I'm going to get to the advanced. But some of you like to go all over the place from 500 different curriculums. The bad thing about that is you're with curriculum 1 in 3rd grade. You go to curriculum 2 in 4th grade and curriculum 3 in 5th grade, like in math. And some of the material is covered 3 times. Other material that should be in there is not covered at all. So what have you done? You've left holes in their math ball. So what we're doing with fundamentals is we're going to review all of those elementary grades and make sure that wall is secure up to the level, and then get you ready for pre-algebra. What if the student is, I can just grab it. Okay, do 2 lessons in a day. Go through that lesson, watch the video, do the homework, and maybe just go to the B section. Forget the A, do the B problems, and go on to the next lesson. Do 2 lessons a day. You know what you do? You'll be through fundamentals in a semester. The second semester, you can do pre-algebra. The caveat that I always say, and sometimes I'm thinking the back end. What are you going to do when it comes to 12th grade? Are you ready to put a 16-year-old guy or girl in your community college? If you go through things so fast, so think about that. It's your child, your decision.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Harmon, thank you so much for taking the time to be
one
here
thing
today.
I did want to tell you
what's
is
that?
Mr. Matasevic had his tie on.
Yes, that's right.
And I couldn't decide which tie. So, I wasn't sure if I should wear my lab tie or the planets tie or the elements tie or my Einstein for physics tie. So I brought them all.
There you go. Or just, you couldn't decide, so you didn't wear any of them.
Well, I had to wear something. And by the way, all these ties have come from homeschoolers that have sent them to me, or some from Christian schools, I'm sure, in the past.
Yeah, you know what? My sister and I and our friend who was also homeschooled, we love Mr. Harmon so much that we bought him a tie. I don't know
which one of them. I can't remember who got what.
Well, he's gotten so many ties from homeschoolers. But thank you so much for bringing your energy to Fundamentals of Math for 7th graders.
All right.
Appreciate it. Have a good afternoon.